Welcome to The Business Behind Your Business, the podcast where we delve into the financial strategies and insights that drive success for small and medium-sized business owners. I'm your host, Paul Sweeney, and in each episode we bring you expert guests who share practical advice, real-world experiences, and actionable tips to empower you on your business journey. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, get ready to uncover the secrets to success and gain valuable insights into the business behind your business. Welcome back to the Business Behind Your Business podcast, and we've got a real treat today because we're going to dive into a topic that we're hearing a lot of questions for, a lot of noise, a lot of, uncertainty around what's actually going on. And the topic we've got today is artificial intelligence, but using it for your business and actually getting the most out of it. Now, as always, we try to bring in the experts, the people with the knowledge to help you get the best out of this topic for your business. And delighted to have today Josh Thomas. Now, Josh, he describes himself as a 15-year-old grizzled veteran entrepreneur. Now, I want to unpack that a bit, Josh, what you mean by that. But you've worked with over 5,000 entrepreneurs across 30 different industries over the last 15 years. And many of your top clients have been able to double or triple or even, 5 times sales in less than 90 days. And that's another topic that we'd love to hear about from you at some point in the future, hopefully. And you've got your own quite a proven sales process and with systems and guidance, and we love systems. But as that consultant, a long-time consultant, you've actually co-founded a company called Anabots AI, which we'll dive into a bit because it's pretty exciting what you're doing there. And you're also the host of 2 podcasts, The Do Zone and the Basic Business AI podcast. And as you'll guess from Josh, he's a Texas boy, but originally from Kentucky. So hopefully that helps get a picture of where Josh is coming from. So Josh, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks. I'm glad to be here. And so for those of you in Paul's audience who are Australian, probably if you're thinking of Texas, you're thinking of everything being bigger here and armadillos. And if you're thinking of Kentucky, it's probably about fried chicken,
right? Absolutely. It's interesting, just the way we look at our perceptions of overseas countries. And I had the pleasure of taking my family for 3 weeks for a trip to the US pre-COVID days, and interesting to see what the reality is like compared to the perception that the kids had of what the US would be like from media, social media, TikTok, YouTube, and movies, and actually seeing some of the reality of it. So what has happened since then is we've got a lot more globalization because the world has moved very quickly and technology's moved very quickly. And we're now into this sphere of AI or artificial intelligence, which covers a very broad range. And it's got, we tend to think of AI as Chat GPT, which is a very limited, it's all like, less than 1% of what AI really can do for businesses. And I guess, people, when you first think of AI, you think of the Terminator movies with the artificial intelligence and, the machines coming, cybernet coming to destroy life as we know it. And I'm curious, and we'll find out a bit more about this, but your AI tool that you've developed, you've actually called John Connor, which any Terminator fans there are going to get a bit of a kick out of this. But Josh, as the host of the Basic Business AI podcast, you would have been talking to a lot of different business owners about AI, and be curious to know what's the general feeling about what AI is and how can it help business owners?
Yeah. So first of all, great introduction. And you're right. We were done a great disservice back in 1991 when the best movie ever made came out, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. The first one it doesn't count, but it instilled in us, and in 2001, A Space Odyssey before it, and all of the other future dystopian movies where the robots take over, it has instilled in us this permanent fear and suspicion that eventually the machines are going to catch on that we don't know how to take care of ourselves, and they're going to take care of us by annihilating us. And maybe that's what's going to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. And the best distinction that I can make for understanding what AI is and how it can help you as a business owner is, let's change the word that starts with A. Artificial intelligence will annihilate humanity. Augmented intelligence, on the other hand, is something we can harness and use for our benefit. And if you start focusing on AI as a tool that augments your productivity, both as a human being and as an entrepreneur, then your head's going to be in the right place, and you're going to be able to start focusing your energy more towards the things that are going to make a positive impact on your business and your personal life right away.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it, because I think there's a fear in just the unknown, but the way you've described it as augmenting your processes, your thinking to provide a better outcome. I think that's a far better description than what we're used to hearing, particularly in the media and the beat up around some of the tools that are coming out.
Here's the thing. We're wired to be afraid because fear, caution, it enhances our chances of survival. If I am cautious about the things that I do or the places that I go or the people I interact with, that keeps me safe. It protects me. AI is unknown. It's unsafe. I'm going to be naturally afraid of it so that I can protect myself. The same way that we protected ourselves from cell phones 20 years ago. The same way that 25, just less in this century, Paul, there is a newspaper headline you can find from December 5th of 2000. Internet may just be a fad as millions give up on it. That was 24 years ago, man. People were scared of the internet. People were scared. I don't know if you know this. You can go back and you can find political propaganda cartoons in the 1880s where they're like questioning the utility of Edison's light bulb. It's new stuff. I don't know. Better to be suspicious. Better to wait and see. And here's the thing about wait and see. Wait and see has always served us. It's going to be very difficult for you to convince any human being that wait and see is not a good approach. But let me show you why it's not for AI. The reason that it's not for AI is because we just finished the Olympics season. I'm not sure when this is coming out, but the Olympics just recently concluded. And for those that watched the 100-meter sprint, it was the closest race in the history of that sport. And that sport is the pinnacle of human potential. Go as fast as you can and beat everybody else. 5 different people were within nose hairs of each other because we are reaching the limits of what is possible physically for a human being. At some point, we're going to reach the limits of what is possible mentally as a human being. And we're just not going to be able to think any faster or bigger or smarter. And we're just going to hit a wall. AI, on the other hand, is only speeding up. It's only getting started. Very quickly, if it hasn't already, AI will overtake our capability and far surpass our human potential. And so it's natural to be afraid. There's no way I can keep up. The machine's going to always beat me. But let me show you a different way. And I promise we'll get into tactic stuff, but I got to get this out, man. Let me show you a different way. Instead of trying to run faster to keep up, I want you to stop. I want you to turn around, and I want you to go backwards. And here's what I mean by that. When you stop and you turn around and you go backwards, you start to look at what's my fundamental position? What is my goal? What is my objective? I'm going to walk up that hill and I'm going to get a landscape. I'm going to take a look from the higher ground to see where I'm going. And I'm going to reinforce my position. I'm going to get clear on my goals and my objectives. And instead of trying to beat this impossible juggernaut, which I won't, I'm going to use the one advantage that I have, and it's human intuition. It's empathy. It's vision. It's perspective. It's discretion. Machines are not capable of that. They're only capable of running programs that mimic it. And that's where, if you go back and you reinforce, what am I trying to do anyway? And then you start realizing, Paul, that AI is just a tool. It's just a vehicle that's going to help you augment your result and your potential. Because if you're really great at running a business, AI is going to make you superhuman at running a business. If you're really terrible at running a business, AI is just going to magnify that. And that's the last point I'll make here. Is just AI is like money. Money is a magnifier. If you're an a-hole, money will make you a really big a-hole. If you are an amazing person, money will make you a more amazing person because you'll use that money the right way. It's not going to turn you into an a-hole. You already were an a-hole if money makes you an a-hole. You were just hiding.
No, there's some great points there, Josh. I think, we've seen a lot of instances where people have adopted new technologies or new processes, and instead of using them correctly in their business, they've actually used them to get to the wrong outcomes or the wrong results in a faster way. And generally,
that's okay. At least
we got somewhere fast. Because sometimes it's about speed. Well, people think it's about speed, but we're more concerned with, I guess, the outcome. Is it accurate? Is it efficient? Is it beneficial? Because I can do a lot of things fast, but I'm not going anywhere. In fact, I could be going nowhere on a treadmill, or I could be going backwards. But it's about using those tools, those processes to improve, I guess, your thinking, but I guess amplify the ability to move forward. And I like that whole idea of stopping and taking stock of where you're at. A sport that I'm involved with, my kids are a lot more involved in it because they're a lot better at it than I am. I'm a late comer to it, but so we do orienteering. So we're running through the bush with a map and contours and vegetation and trying to find control points. And the temptation is to just keep running. Even if you feel like you're running in the wrong direction, you just keep running as fast as you can. But a couple of years ago, I was shown a video of one of the world's best athletes. And what he did was actually he stopped for 10 seconds and just looked at his map, looked at where he was and planned what he was going to do. And he ended up getting to the next control, I think 2 to 3 minutes faster than any other competitor because he actually stopped and took stock of where he was going and what he needed to do and just had that calmness about where he was going. But instead of just running as fast as he can in the wrong direction, he had some purpose. He knew where he was at, knew what he needed to do and nothing else. So I love that idea. And be curious to know what you've talked to a lot of business owners about this. How are they feeling? Because I know there's still a lot of fear out there, but what are the business owners that you've been talking to on your podcast?
Yeah.
What are some of the thoughts they've got?
Well, I want to make a quick comment about something you just said, because I think this is extremely relevant to what you just shared about orienteering. Your fellow countryman, Chris Hemsworth, has a series called Limitless, I think it's called. I don't know if you've seen it. But there was an episode of Limitless. And so for those of you who aren't familiar, this goes right into the conversation I was having earlier about human potential. In some places, we are reaching the limits of our human potential physically, mentally, emotionally, and all these things. Chris has a mini series where he is exploring, does a human actually have limits at all? And one of those episodes was about memory. And the lesson that we were learning about memory in that episode was, if you don't use it, you lose it. And his exercise was, he was home in Australia, and I think he was maybe with his like a cousin or something. And they went out into the bush in the outback. And they got to look at a map before they left. And then they had to fold the map up and put it down. No devices, nothing. They had to use their brains to reorient and see those landmarks and start moving towards them. And it's a lost art because we have GPS and all these things and we're getting dumber, right? And so if we replace ourselves with AI, we're just going to get dumber and be less effective. We have to still step into our true selves. We still have to go in there and we have to charge our brains and use them in order for AI to be effective at all. It's only there to serve humans. If you're not being human, it won't work for you. And I just because you said that, as soon as you said that, and the Australia connection, it was like, if you haven't seen that episode, everybody, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that idea. And we are actually capable of so much, but I think you've hit it. We've got very lazy and relied too much on technology to do the thinking for us. But
and that's kind of coming back to your question. What are the fears? A lot of people are just worried that, aside from the existential fears, it just can't represent me. I've never seen it, put out good quality product. There's nothing that can replace a good old human conversation. And to a certain extent, that's true. I would 10 times out of 10, I would rather talk to my mom than talk to ChatGPT. But on the other hand, better inputs produce better outputs. And so if you're using AI and you're not getting a great result from it, take a look at what you're putting into the AI, because the AI is just going to reflect back to you what you're putting into it. So a lot of the conversations that I'm having on this podcast, Basic Business AI, is I'm very specifically bringing on successful entrepreneurs and business owners like yourself who are not necessarily AI experts, gurus, or even really like super tech savvy. I'm looking for people who either have an opinion about AI or have kind of found some way to incorporate it in their business, even though they didn't, go to MIT or something. And the thing that I learned is people are figuring it out. If you're initiated, if you realize I'm in charge, not the machines, but I'm going to use these machines as tools to help me get farther faster, you'll come up with a lot of solutions really fast with a little bit of ingenuity. And that's how we as humans have survived all this long. And I'll give you a couple of examples. And here's the best way to really be effective in using AI. The first thing that we want to accept is I do not need to be a super tech genius to use AI. It is not required. And when you go and talk to somebody and they start talking over your head with all this jargon, just understand that's not you. It's them. Because even the smartest people, Paul, in the entire world, they really appreciate when you don't make them think so hard. And so if somebody's talking over your head about AI, just move on to the next person. Like, everything should be able to be explained at like the 10 to 11-year-old level. If it can't be explained on that level, you're not smart enough to explain it. You need a better teacher. Like, they need a better teacher to teach them how to explain it. Because AI is not that hard. It's just a tool that's going to make you go farther faster. Just like I could run down the street, or I could ride my bike down the street, or I could drive my car down the street. As long as I learn how to drive, I don't need to know how the engine works or how the belts crank and all that stuff. I just need to know how to turn the wheel. And as long as you can learn how to turn the wheel that's going to get you where you need to go, that's all AI really is. I can get more detail and granular on that, but I think I've been talking for a minute, so I'll be quiet.
Yeah, no, that's good. And just coming back to one of your earlier comments when we were talking about how the internet wasn't going to survive, and you mentioned that there were a lot of people out there just waiting and seeing. I actually went to a whole day conference talking about using AI to create better business outcomes. I was described that there are people that are going to make it happen, people who are, who want to
Gonna
make it
let it
happen, people
happen.
who are making it happen, and then people who are watching it happen, and then the others who just sit back in the future and say, "What happened?"
What happened? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're going to make it happen. They're going to let it happen. They're going to watch it happen, or they're going to wonder what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, are you still finding that the approach is a lot of we're still watching what other people are doing, or
Yeah. Here's the thing. So you were kind of referencing this thing called the adoption curve. And so the best way I can explain the adoption curve is think about for those of us who are at least kind of 40-ish, if you were around when the iPhone came out, if you were camping out to get that first iPhone, you're an early adopter, or you're a fanatic, actually. The early adopter came the next day. The majority was when, like, all right, nobody got vaporized. I'm going to go ahead and get an iPhone. And then the laggards, they call it, is like, that's when your grandma got an iPhone, right? And so you tend to stay in the same position on the adoption curve for your whole life. It's just your core principles, the way you were raised, the way you navigate the world. And so it's hard to move yourself up because it's always worked for you. Wait and see if that's where you're at. Or if you're an early adopter, I got to be in the front because I got to know first. That's always worked for you. You're not going to move much. But what I'm advocating for, the reason that I created a podcast for people who are not tech savvy, who are afraid of AI, to show that, like, hey, I get you and your feelings are valid, but let me show you a couple of steps you can take to actually use this to your benefit, is because I was one of those late majority laggard kind of guys with all things. And it cost me millions of dollars by waiting just a little bit too long before the trend passed by. Because I saw it and I'm like, ooh, that looks like a good idea. Let me wait and see. And then by the time I was ready to get into Bitcoin or whatever, I was buying at the top. Like stuff like that happened to me over and over and over again. And so I want to move people closer up to where you can take advantage of the curve going up, not when it goes down.
Yeah, that's a key thing, and particularly during COVID, when we were looking at, or the COVID years, when we're looking at how people adapted, what I saw from a lot of businesses, the ones that took advantage were the ones that didn't have fear about changing and adopting new methods, new technologies quickly. A lot were still very hesitant, even though we'd been in lockdown periods and we had to adopt new technology. There was still a fear about adoption and a lot of hesitancy, waiting and seeing. But the ones who didn't fear, or had less fear about the outcomes, or less fear of failure, adopted, changed, and grew at a much faster rate. They weren't afraid to take those opportunities when they arose. And I'm seeing a bit of the same thing here. And already I've got these sort of pangs that I'm missing out by acting too slowly in some areas, because there's some tremendous opportunities. And look, even when we're talking about basic business processes, how we can improve them, and this is where I want to talk about John Connor here, because I've always been frustrated in the way things are and thinking there's always got to be a better way of doing it, waiting for somebody else to invent it, because I'm not a great inventor myself. But one of my frustrations was that communication time frame and the disjointedness between somebody, a prospect or a client, wants to make a meeting with me to discuss something, but we seem to spend more time organizing the meeting than actually having the meeting. And then when we have the meeting, we're so pushed for time, we don't actually meet the objectives, because sometime in booking the meeting, nobody forgot to actually plan what we were going to discuss properly at the meeting and prepare for it. So I've got a suspicion that John Connor addresses that and many more problems. Am I on the right track here?
Yeah, I think so. To put it in a few words, humans, as we just mentioned, we're slow and we're busy and we're distracted and we can only do what we can do. And we have this pesky addiction to sleep and breaks and weekends and all of these things that machines don't need. And we compromise sometimes because we're fatigued or we're in a bad mood or we had a fight with our spouse the night before, or our kids are sick, or we're just depressed because last month was terrible. Machines don't do that. Machines just do their job. And what we found is human beings, people that are in the human business, if you run a service, whether it be home services like a plumber or HVAC repair, or professional services like real estate or accountants or anything else, marketing agencies, coaches, the people who want to interact with you, they fall into two buckets, and they usually are bouncing between one bucket and the other. So the one bucket is just answer my question now. And the other bucket is just talk to me now. But neither one of those buckets is I'll wait a little bit. They will wait a little bit, but they don't want to. I want it now. I have a question. Answer my question now. I want to talk to you. Let's talk now. But they're not necessarily in those places at the same time. And so there's some statistics on this about, I think it's 53% of online inquiries, they do not actually want to talk to a human at all, at least not yet. But whenever they do want to talk to a human, they want to talk now. And here's some real damning statistics. If you cannot get back to a person within 5 minutes of their original inquiry, your chances of ever transacting business with them goes down by 80%. If you can get back to them within 1 minute, you have a 4x higher chance of transacting business with them. 4x, 4 times within 1 minute. Now, Paul, do you want to guess? What is the average response time for service-based businesses to any inquiry about doing business with them? You want to guess?
Oh, look, I'm going to be a bit of extreme here. I'm going to say 2 days, because knowing that how pushed for time a lot of business owners are in actually answering, a lot of them are so busy doing, they're not answering inquiries at the moment.
47 hours. Nailed
Pretty
it.
close.
47 hours. Now, check this out, man. Paul, do you remember a website that you visited 2 days ago?
Oh,
Can you even think of what you were, like where you were 2 days ago?
no, look, it's scary, because if I actually went to my history of where I visited in 2 days, I've probably visited a couple of hundred or different websites for different purposes. So remembering which one and what I was doing there.
Yeah. Now here's another test. Do you remember a website you visited 2 hours ago?
2 hours ago, no.
Yeah. And if you weren't on this podcast, do you remember a website that you visited 2 minutes before this podcast started?
Yeah.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't store that stuff. Now, I want you to, here's the thing. People want you to talk. People want the answers now. They want to talk now. They want to talk within 5 minutes max. After 10 minutes, they are literally looking for someone else to talk to. And as a whole, businesses are waiting 2 days on average to get back to their potential customers. So here's where I want to really point back to what AI can do for you. AI is not going to build you a more sophisticated, content mechanism. AI is not going to give you a better ad copy so that you can spend less on your ads. Forget that stuff. Just call the people that asking you to call them. AI can help you do that. And if you do that, you will cream Everyone. You don't have to use AI to be fancy and create content and all this stuff. You don't have to go and sign up for this shiny thing or that shiny thing. You don't have to go to AI conventions. All you have to do is call the leads that are asking you to call them. And if you can't do that because you're elbow deep in whatever it is that you do, use AI. The average response time, you've mentioned John Connor a few times. John Connor, if you go to our website, Anabots AI, you can have a conversation with John Connor. He's designed to do two things really well: answer questions about Anabots and book a call so that you can talk to us about signing up for Anabots. And John Connor's average response time is 9 seconds. Human beings take 47 hours. AI can do it in 9 seconds. And that's really the difference here. If you don't have the time to call the people that are already asking to do business with you, that's where AI can come in, automate that process, automate your sales, automate your appointment setting so that you can wake up tomorrow with a full calendar of people that already got their questions answered and they're already interested and motivated in buying with you. And they set a time on your timeline, on your calendar, and they just have one or two more questions. They basically just want to know, are you going to take care of me? And you're going to say yes, and you're going to close that deal.
Wow. Yeah, because and you were so right there, because I remember, well, I don't remember, it's very recent, but ringing people who have made inquiries on our website, and because I've had back-to-back meetings, I haven't got back to them the same day, and literally I've had to remind them, you went onto our website and you sent in this inquiry and I'm ringing back to talk to you about that. And they go, oh, yeah, that was a couple of days ago. Or,
I hear you again.
Yeah. Oh, no, my circumstances have changed. I've actually had that. I had one, and within, let's say it might
Minutes.
have been, a day. Let's say a day. By the time I'd rung, the circumstances had already changed so much that they no longer needed us to do that particular function. So it is scary how much we're missing out on by not being able to respond quickly and appropriately.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So if you focus on those, remember those two buckets. I got questions. Answer them now. I want to talk. Call me now. AI can do both of those things. And so the way that we typically do this is we're going to find out who are you? What do you stand for? What are you all about? Who is your customer? What are their main concerns, questions, objections, fears? We program the AI to answer those questions, to be empathetic, to have a real natural conversation. You got a question about what we do? Yeah, we do this, this, and this. Would you like to book a call and talk to somebody? No, not right now. Okay, well, we're here if you need us. And then they come back, they've been thinking about it. Oh, man, I got the answer I needed. Great. I'm going to come back the next day. Hey, what about this? Yeah, we can do that too. Would you like to have a call? Yeah, you know what? I do want a call. Can you book it for tomorrow? Sure thing. How about 2:00? AI is going to take care of all of that. No human involvement. I have one story if I have time.
Yeah, you do. You do. Absolutely.
So we installed an AI-powered assistant on a website for a children's party center here in the States. And by the way, you can put this on SMS, like text messaging. So you can actually text the AI. You can put it on your social media, Google My Business, email, support tickets. You can have it be your maintenance dispatcher if you're a property manager, for instance, Airbnb welcomers, all kinds of things. But this person runs very expensive children's birthday parties. And she has like a big venue and all this stuff. And two things happened that we did not expect. First of all, most people, if you go to any website and you see that little badge in the bottom right corner, most people ignore it because it's a terrible experience. It either doesn't work or it's just cold, like, oh, here, put your email here and we'll get back to you whenever we think about it. But here's what happened. Two things happened. Number one, the lady's, her name's Leah, and Leia was tucking her kid in bed one night. It was pretty late. It was like 10 p.m. And what she didn't know, and she found out the next day, was that somebody went to her website and started asking questions about their party. And the AI assistant booked the party. She wakes up the next day and sees all these messages, and she says, "Who wrote these messages?" We said it was the AI. She's like, "They just booked a $4,000 party."
Wow.
And she had no idea. The next thing that happened, and this like made my hairs stand up. This happened like yesterday, dude. We got a screenshot from her, and it was her AI assistant was having a chat. Somebody just went into the chat and typed in Spanish, anybody that speaks Spanish. The AI chatbot switches to Spanish, closes another $4,000 party. Leia does not speak Spanish. So she's made $8,000 from an AI website chatbot with zero human involvement whatsoever. And she was on the brink of closing this business. Now, I'm not going to say we saved her business, but we helped her close 2 deals. Now, maybe she could have gotten those deals anyway, but the fact that they were right there to answer the questions and they were right there to talk and book the call, we got it done. And that's the thing. People are looking for you when you're asleep. People are looking for you when you're out to dinner. People are looking for you when you're distracted or you're on another call. They want their answer now. And Leia is living proof. I mean, 2 deals within a week of each other worth $8,000. That's a big deal, man. Like, and she has a high margin business. Like, that's a lot of money. That feeds her employees. That feeds her family. That keeps the lights on for her business because she was struggling.
Yeah, and that's just just within 1 week, effectively.
That's right.
But you add up the opportunities that you miss. And look, we talk to people and they say, we get inquiries, but they're all the wrong ones. Or when we do get inquiries, we're not converting them. That's a classic example of getting the right inquiries because the right customer is asking the questions. And if they're not the right customer, they know straight away that's not the right mix. It's the right customer. They're getting answered quickly, and the conversion is very straightforward. And quite a high success rate there. And yeah, that's about improving sales, and improving sales is about improving profits, and so much more comes from having a profitable business. So it's great news.
I love when sales don't need to involve me.
And look, I know we've used a lot of your time, but it's been such a great experience for us, and I'm sure our listeners are going to have. They're going to have questions, so I'm going to send them to the Anabots AI website, and they can ask the questions directly to John Connor, so you don't have to answer them.
I'm happy to answer any question as a human. And there's one thing I want to share with you. I think this is really important because, again, AI is not here to replace humans. It's here to augment them. If you have a question about our AI could probably answer some basic questions. But if you want to talk to a human, talk to me. It's okay. I've got time because my AI does such a good job. If you want to have a conversation with a human about how you can use AI in your business, no problem. Go talk to John. Say, hey, I want to talk to a person. And they'll book a call with me or with my partner, Anna. And we'll have a conversation. We'll answer your questions. We'll do a discovery and explore with you. Well, what are you trying to accomplish with AI? Or if you don't want to talk about AI and you just want to automate your sales and appointment setting, we have packages between $100 and $500, give or take. And there's no commitments. We don't charge like ridiculous setup fees or anything like that. It's month to month. We'll take care of all the technology. We'll build everything out. We'll install it, and we'll support it with world-class support for as long as you want to work with us. And we're going to make sure it converts because I've personally been building and growing sales teams and sales processes for almost 2 decades. And so that's really what we put into our AI.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, Josh, I really appreciate your time. It's been a lot of great content, a lot of eye-opening content, really. And I think for a lot of business owners listening to this, they're going to be thinking, well, here's a solution that's going to help me get back my time, help me get back some of my sanity from being a business owner. So we've got Anabots AI, the website. John Connor, is that the best place to contact you, or is there another place that people should go to get in touch with you?
Yeah, certainly. So if you go to Anabots AI, there should be a contact form on there. You can chat with the bot and say, hey, I want to talk to Josh, and they'll book a call with me. You can also find me on almost all social media at JT Literally. Facebook's a great place to find me.
Okay, fantastic. So we're going to share those links in the show notes, and also keep watching and listening, and we'll be sharing more about this process and how to contact Josh. Really appreciate it. It's been fantastic. I've loved the discussion. Always love finding ways to help business owners run better businesses, because at the end of the day, you run your business to give yourself and your family the lifestyle that you need or desire. And if we can make your business run better for you, then we've achieved our goal. So, Josh, really appreciate talking to you today. It's been absolutely fantastic. And listeners, go and check out Anabots AI, please.
Can I end us with my best attempt at being Australian?
Oh, yeah, certainly. Certainly.
All right. So I've never been to Australia. So to me, it's just like dusty, and there's kangaroos everywhere, and Crocodile Dundee, right? So I'm gonna say, right, slip another shrimp on the barbie. That's all I got.
Okay, thanks, Josh, and look forward to catching up with you again. And listeners, make sure you subscribed, and also check out the Basic Business AI podcast, and there's a lot of good content there for you to digest.
Paul Sweeney's on that. Paul Sweeney's on there. You got to check him out.
Absolutely. Thanks, Josh. That's a wrap for this episode of The Business Behind Your Business. We hope you found today's discussion insightful and valuable for your business journey. Before we go, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Share it with fellow business owners who could benefit, and send in your burning questions, because we love hearing from you. Missed any of our previous episodes or looking for additional resources to help grow your business? Head over to our website at thebusinessbehindyourbusiness.com. There you'll find our full archive of past episodes, along with show notes, transcripts, and links to valuable resources mentioned in each episode. Your journey to business success continues at thebusinessbehindyourbusiness.com. Until next time, stay inspired, stay informed, and keep building the business of your dreams.